Make it happen and make it big. Your creative career starts right now. You're listening to Media Artist Secrets, the podcast.
Hello, this is Franklin McMahon. Welcome to Media Artist Secrets. This is episode number 54. You can check us out on the web, on the internet at MediaArtist.com and also in Computer Arts Magazine. If you're listening to this and you're coming from if you're coming from Media Artist Secrets, hey, check out Computer Arts Magazine. If you're coming from Computer Arts Magazine, if you've seen me in the magazine or heard me on the CD, go to MediaArtist.com or search iTunes and subscribe, and you get all kinds of episodes of Media Artists. It's very exciting. I'm excited already. So we're going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to talk about charging, passion. We're going to be talking about being bad. We're going to talk about being bad, goals, scoreboards, just a bunch of stuff. It's kind of a medley of a bunch of different stuff. So let's first talk about charging. Now, charge what you need to earn a living. This is something that sounds very simple, very basic, but if you're starting any kind of enterprise, even if you're doing something on the side, if you're working a full-time job and you got this side thing going, this could blossom into a very nice career. And the thing that you'll do at the beginning is you'll charge really low prices because you're like, oh, I'm new. I don't want to get into it too much because, I'm new and I don't have the background yet. It doesn't matter. As long as you're tenacious, talented, pushing forward, marketing, getting your stuff out there, you can charge what you need, and don't feel bad about it. Don't hesitate. Don't lowball. Don't charge dramatically less than what you're worth. Chances are you're getting better and better, and you can charge more. I'll give you an example. If you ever go to Radio Shack and you go straight back, and some of you may have done this, and you need a little RCA connector. It's an adapter, let's say, and you go all the way to the back, and the Radio Shack, the helpful Radio Shack staff is there to help you find the connector, and you're going through different connectors. Finally, we get it. We find it, and there it is. Great. It's a little RCA plug. Let's say it adapts a mini plug to an RCA or something. I'm just using an example. This is all hypothetical. So you go to pay for it, it's $3.99, $3.99 plus tax, or maybe it's $4.99 for connector like this, or maybe it's a short cable. Now, do you think it actually costs Radio Shack $5 to create this? Now, you figure that it's a piece of metal, which might cost a nickel. You got the packaging, which is some plastic and paper, maybe another nickel. So let's just say 10 cents. Now, if they want to turn a profit on this and they want people to buy these, well, why wouldn't they charge, a quarter or a dollar at most? Well, because they have a niche, and when you walk into Radio Shack, you are in niche marketing or niche purchasing. There's something you need. Now, there's not going to be a rush to buy these connectors daily, day in, day out. Now, some of those things, say cell phones or stereos, those are up in the front. Those are more things that are purchased on a regular basis and might be a little bit lower priced in the scheme of things as compared to what it costs to actually build them. But the connector is niche marketing. You need that connector, and it doesn't matter how much it costs. You just need it. So you pay the $4 or $5 because it's that important to you. You really want it, and this item that you're purchasing is going to make your life better. It's going to be able to it's going to make you be able to hook up your stereo or hook up your headphone or adapt it or whatever. So it's totally worth it. Now, Radio Shack does not feel bad. By the way, does everyone know Radio Shack? I don't know if they're around the world, but Radio Shack's electronics store. Just thought I'd throw that in there. So Radio Shack does not feel guilty. They don't feel bad. They know they have to charge that to make it profitable, to make the store profitable. They do marketing. They have lots of stores. They have to charge that amount. They're not hesitant about it. And they know if you want it and if you need it, you'll pay for it because it'll be harder to find other places. Now, apply that thinking to your own company. Really start to think about what you offer. If it's a niche, that's even better. Don't try to be everything to, everyone. Don't try to be like, I'm going to just, I'm going to do web design, photography. I'm going to do 20 things. Music, I can score music. I can do anything. Try to niche it a little bit and really get better and better at what you're doing, and then charge accordingly and charge a bit more. Like I said, don't feel guilty about it. when you sit down to do your business plan or start a business or anything, if you've been to any business school or marketing seminar, you have to choose what you need to make a living. That is the priority. It's not what it costs. It's not, I mean, photography is a good example. It costs probably next to nothing. Once you buy the camera and you've paid for it with a few shoots or whatever, once you purchase the equipment, it doesn't cost you, if you shoot digital, it costs you probably next to nothing. So you wouldn't charge next to nothing, because that would be kind of crazy, unless you want to just donate your time. But you charge what you need to make a living, not what you think people will pay, not what you think the market is, although you have to kind of temper that with kind of keeping an eye on your surrounding market. But again, we think globally, so the market is all over the world, so keep that in mind. Now, as far as charging what you need, Apple is another good example. Apple charges a bit more, and they need to. They have stores. They just opened up a store in New York City, open 24 hours a day, very cool store. They have lots of advertising on the web and on TV. They have product development. They come out with really cool stuff that looks very sexy, and people want it immediately. Apple doesn't want to be the Walmart or Target with the lowest prices. That's not their niche. Their niche is they want to be the best. They want to have the best MP3 player. They want to look good. They want their operating system and computers to be cool. And, they don't want to sell it cheap and mass market. Now, they may change their tune. Who knows? And certainly, I think lowering their prices to expand their marketplace is something they probably are keeping an eye on or might be even doing. But what they've done for years is charge accordingly and charge probably a little bit more. And people, if you want it, you will buy it. If you want that, you will purchase it. And, it's interesting because the PlayStation 3, the Xbox 360 has come out. The PlayStation 3 is at a higher price. And, the CEO of the company, the Sony division of PlayStation, his angle was gamers will buy it. And he's right. If you want a PlayStation 3, you will purchase it. The price is kind of irrelevant because that's what you want. It's a niche. Even though it's a pretty global niche with, millions of, they'll probably sell millions of these units, but it's a niche and you want it and people will pay for it. So keep that in mind when you're charging. Like I say, don't hesitate, don't feel bad, and don't feel guilty. People love to pay money for stuff they really want. People love to spend more money. Not everyone can spend that kind of money, but maybe they won't be your customers. But don't feel guilty about it. And if the customers you have around you can't afford that, you may need to move on to other customers who can, because they'll see the worth and they'll see what you're really doing. And a lot of it is about passion too. What are you passionate about? What will people pay for? This is something we've discussed on the show before, and this kind of ties in. If you're doing something that you're really, really passionate and love doing, people will pay for it. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter. It's probably something that you're doing now, perhaps as a hobby or as a career. If you're passionate about it and you love doing it and you can convey that excitement to other people, people will pay for it. They really will pay for it. Trust me on that. So, all right, being bad. Be bad often. When you're creating stuff, don't worry if it's not perfect. Just constantly push stuff out. Just get it done and just create. If you're any type of artist or media person, if you do, design or editing or, photography or any of these things, music, just keep doing it. Just keep doing it, and don't afraid to be bad. I think creative artists want to be perfect. We scrutinize our work more than anyone in the world could possibly do, and once we do something, we're probably like, it's okay. Whereas someone else would say that is really amazing, and you'll be like, well, yeah, it's okay, but I didn't quite get to where I was going. So don't worry if it's not perfect. I had a guest on. I do another podcast called the CreativeCow.net podcast. Check it out, CreativeCow.net. It's a weekly show, so if you want to check out my stuff weekly, I interview lots of artists. And recent episode, I had a guest, Steven Silver, and it's funny because he used to listen. Well, he still listens to this show, and that's where we hooked up. He emailed me. I ended up having him on as a guest on my other show, and he's a character designer, and he's self-taught, and he's been doing it for years, and he just draws. He draws all the time. He just loves doing it. He loves networking with other artists. He's really immersed in it. And he's gotten better and better. He's currently working on Disney's Kim Possible, the animated series. He's created characters for that. He created the characters for Clerks, the animated series. He's worked with Kevin Smith. So here's a guy who really was very passionate and really determined. In fact, that's what he has on his website, the 3 treasures to success in life: determination, passion, and desire. Now, these are things that, it's a lot to keep these things going. And I don't know, Stephen, but check it out. It's episode 36 if you go back in the archives of CreativeCow.net podcast. It's a pretty good interview. But it got me thinking about the fact that he is not afraid to just keep drawing and keep doing stuff. And when I say be bad, I mean just keep doing stuff. Whatever you do, if you do music, for example, do it on a daily basis, a couple of times a week. Just keep cranking it out and pushing stuff out, letting people know. If you have a website, you can put stuff. A lot of artists have, a lot of top artists have very nice websites, and some of them, will put out little mixes and stuff that's not particularly polished or not something they're going to market, but they just want to get feedback and they want to get stuff out there. And that gets a fan base gathering around you because you're consistent and you have stuff out on a regular basis. Now, getting back to the passion and the desire and keeping that going, how do you keep that going? You want to be bad on a weekly basis. Well, how do you keep being bad and keep experimenting and keep getting better and better? A lot of it's new challenges, always trying something new, something that's kind of out of your safe zone. If you try to, get into something that's, not quite what you've been used to, it's a little tricky. So, but don't be afraid. Just get in there, and you may be bad at first, but don't worry about it. Just keep challenging yourself and keep reinventing yourself. A lot of us are into, all different things and branching off into new areas, and that's good. You want to have a mosaic, a career mosaic of a bunch of different stuff that potentially you could be good at, because some things will take off. You don't want to be everything and market yourself as the, Mr. or Mrs. Do-It-All, but start to really get good at several things, because you'll see your career heading in some directions you might not have thought about. And finally, bask in your glory. If you're doing stuff on, this sounds kind of egotistical, but take a second and step back and look at all you've accomplished. And a lot of people don't do this. They keep driving forward. And of course, if you're listening to the show, you're a very forward-thinking individual and you're very, determined. But really I would say weekly. I try to do it weekly, at least a few times a month. Step back and look what you've accomplished in the past few months or in the past year, and really see how far you've come. If you're really, being bad often and cranking stuff out and doing a lot and networking and creating new things, you'll realize if you look back, you've really done a lot. And that'll, you want to bask in that a little bit, because that really helps you get motivated to see that you've, been accomplishing stuff. Now, a lot of this ties into goals. If you're very structured with, keeping track of what you're doing, goals are very, very important. Now, everyone has goals. Not everyone is doing them. Most people are not doing them. Most people, if you ask them, what are your goals? Well, I have this, this, and this. And then you ask them, well, what have you done to accomplish your goals this week? People say, it's been a crazy, hectic week. Well, what about last week? Well, this month has been crazy. So when people say that, they're being tugged around by typically other people's goals, and they're not focusing on their own goals. So if you're going to progress in doing this stuff and keeping passionate and being determined and expanding your career, goals are a huge part of it. And you have to be structured in keeping track of them. And you can usually do that by a scoreboard. Scoreboard, actually, if you go back, shows what you've done. That's basking in the glory. What's, going forward, what you have to work on, and what you've currently accomplished on, let's say, a weekly basis. The way I do it is I have a little notepad program on my computer, and I keep track of all my things I have to do, and I have them organized in different subcategories and stuff like that. It starts with a journal, though. I have a pad, and it's like a little notebook and a pen. And when ideas pop into my head, I just jot them down. I just write them down. Very stream of consciousness. I don't really say, should I really write that down? Is that important? I just write it down. So then I go back over that stuff and I read it, stuff I've written in the past week, and certain things will start to jump out. And then the following week, I'll look again, and stuff really sticks. And once it's something that is really prominent in my journal, in my notebook, I'll move it to my little notepad on my computer and incorporate it into a goal or project. And that way it's on my computer and it's very in my face. The thing with journals is sometimes you can kind of put them away, and you should. You know, if you like to relax on the weekends, it's nice to turn the computer off, put the notebook away, and just chill and refresh yourself. But, you know, when I'm on the computer, I want to have that task list and those goals and a scorecard where I can just, you know, check it off or make a mark that I've done something. So if you want to have goals and you want to accomplish goals, you have to have a pretty structured way of keeping track, you know, a scoreboard or at least a to-do list, something where you can kind of keep track and see your progress and see what you have to do, because otherwise you'll just get swept up with day-to-day, weekly life. And you'll never get to it. And then a week later, you'd be like, oh, yeah, I never did that. Oh, I was supposed to do that. Or someone says, you know, hey, did you do that? No, I didn't have a chance. It's just been a hectic week. So you definitely don't want to do that. Anyway, so those are some things to think about. Charging what you need. Don't forget that. Don't hesitate. Don't lowball. Think of that Radio Shack connector for $4. $4, that's kind of pricey, but it's worth it. Hey, if you need the connector, and think about the niches too. You know, obviously, if you can get into a good niche and corner the market, then that's really great. What are you passionate about? What will people pay for? And be bad. Just do stuff. Just keep doing stuff. Do stuff you love. What'll happen is you'll get better and better and better at it. And even do creative projects. Actually schedule. Put them right in your journal. Put them right on your to-do list. Put them in your projects. Actually do creative projects that'll make you, you know, improve your talent and your skills. So be bad often. And goals, you know, you gotta, everyone has goals. Not everyone is doing them. That's a good quote. A lot of people are not doing goals. I wouldn't say most people. A lot of people are not doing goals. But how do you do goals? You keep track. You write them down. You check them off. You really keep a scoreboard of how you're doing in life, because that's how you progress. You know, I mean, you want to, if you're running a race, you have certain points you hit. You know you're in the race. You know how far you want to go. You know your markers of, you know, how you're doing in the race. Otherwise, you're just running all over the place. You're just running through town. You know, you're just running through the mountains. You have no direction. You have no target. You have no way to track your progress. You don't know how far you've gone. You don't know how far you're going. You're just lost in the woods. So don't be lost in the woods. Anyway, I want to do a couple shout outs before I go. CC Chapman, a good friend of mine, has created a new show, Managing the Gray. It's in iTunes. Check it out. It's a good business podcast. And also John Wall of The M Show, themshow.com, has done his 100th episode. So congratulations to John. That's a really good show, too. It's like tech news. Some have said it's a salad bar for the mind. I think I said that. So check that out. John Wall, The M Show. Again, you can search and find it. And as far as me, you can find me at fmstudio.com. That's my website. All the links to all the shows I do, which is Creative Cow and Rumor Girls. If you want to, this is I do a show called Rumor Girls Uncut. This is an audio show. If you want to hear me weekly, it's a little racier than this show. Okay, it's not for everyone, but if you want to check it out, it's pretty fun. So you can get to it right from the website at fmstudio.com. And we started appearing on Sirius Satellite, Sirius Stars 102, which is the station right next to Howard Stern. So we were on last night. So you might have heard us on Sirius Satellite Radio. So if you are listening, welcome. No, you wouldn't be listening to this show because this show isn't on Sirius yet. But Rumor Girls Uncut is, so maybe we'll get Meteor Secrets on Sirius. Actually, I have been on Sirius Satellite Radio in Adam Curry's pod show. Haven't been on in a while, but we need to get back on Sirius. But I'm here for you people, so no matter where you want me, I'll be here. So anyway, check that out. And also, finally, Second Life. I don't know if you guys heard about this. SecondLife.com. It's a virtual world. It's a very, very fun. We've actually started a Rumor Girls house. And if you go into the game, the virtual world, and do a search for Rumor Girls, or you can instant message me at Franklin Keen, Keen. And it's very creative. You know, there's a lot of massive multiplayer, you know, games and stuff. This one's quite different. You can actually create stuff, create buildings. You can actually market yourself within the game, within the world, and make actual money. It's very, very creative, and especially if you're an artist who does like 3D modeling or any sort of things like that, definitely check it out. And again, check out the Rumor Girls penthouse. The Rumor Girls penthouse. Do a search for that, and we're in there. We're right next to the Curry Castle. Adam Curry has a castle there too. So again, it's a very social, creative, fun thing. You can create characters. So you know, we like to pop in there once in a while, so it's a lot of fun. So hey, thanks for joining me, and stay subscribed. We've got some great shows coming up, and you know, keep sticking to the goals. And if you have any questions, comments, drop me an email, frank@fmstudio.com. Love to hear from you. And we have a forum at mediaartist.com. You can introduce yourself, interact with other creative artists, and problem solve, post your questions, whatever you want. And as always, go to fmstudio.com and you'll see all the podcasts that I do, video podcasts and audio podcasts, and definitely check those out. See, I'm marketing myself. I'm mentioning my website to check out my other podcasts, and that's what you guys should do too. Keep marketing and charge what you need. Don't forget about that. Anyway, thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time on Media Artist Secrets.
Audio, video, film, design, business. Welcome to the CreativeCow.net podcast, the podcast for media professionals. More signal, less noise. And now, your host, Franklin McMahon.
Hello, my name is Franklin McMahon, and are you creative? Do you love technology? And do you just love creative tech news? Come on, I know you do. Well, I invite you to listen to the CreativeCow.net podcast, where we cover the latest in cutting-edge multimedia. COW stands for Communities of the World, and each week I interview the leading artists from all over the globe who are involved in video, audio, design, digital effects, editing, music, 3D, DVD, animation, motion graphics. Wow, this is a lot of stuff. Flash, Apple Final Cut Pro, iMovie, iPhoto, Adobe Photoshop, After Effects, movie making, digital compositing, and all aspects of the creative media industry, including Mac and PC. Now, some of the recent topics we've covered have been MacBook Pro laptop versus G5, NAB wrap-up, After Effects tricks, HDV 24p, iMovie and iPhoto, Avid Express Pro, using Final Cut in a live studio environment, Adobe Premiere 2.0, how to make documentaries, growing your creative business, running a visual effects company, HDV music videos, and much, much more. I've done the podcast for over 30 weeks. We've got 30 packed episodes of creative tech news and interviews, information, all kinds of stuff. So if you love creative stuff and you love technology, this is the one podcast you should be listening to. Visit creativecow.net, just creativecow.net, to subscribe. The button's in the upper left corner. You can't miss it. And we'll see you soon at the creativecow.net podcast.